Hello, welcome to the Opinion on Malachite MLC TV Online. I am your host, Joshua Adinoy. In today's edition of the program, we'll be discussing environmental issues and what the Ministry of Environment in Kogi State have been doing towards ensuring a healthier environment for the citizens of the state. The functions of the Ministry of Environment include restoring and maintaining the ecosystem, ecological process and preservation of the biodiversity. They raise public awareness and promote understanding of the linkages of the environment, among other issues. These are some of the things we will be looking at in today's edition of The Opinion. To discuss this with me is the Kogi State Commissioner for Environment. We go on a short break. We'll be right back.
Opinion, they say, is the lowest of human knowledge, but the world, the people, the actions, reactions, and decisions are often patterned with opinions. The same world is characterized by different views, and decisions are sometimes judged by actions or reactions due to opinions. People, nations, and even lower animals rise against or for one another just because of their opinions. Minds are set on opinions daily. Tell me what you don't know and I will tell you. It's all about your opinion. Join me, Joshua Adinoy, on Malachite TV Online every Monday by 9 a.m. Your opinion, my opinion, if well explained and understood, will help us to build a better society. Your opinion, my opinion counts. Don't miss it.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is the Opinion on Malachite MLC TV Online, the program where your view about issues of life matters. Welcome to the show, Honorable Commissioner.
Thank you, my brother.
Please, can you introduce yourself to our viewer out there?
Well, my name is Honorable Victor Adewale Omofaye, and to the glory of God, the Commissioner of Environment, Kogi State.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, well.
Kogi State Ministry of Environment, under your leadership, how has it been so far?
Well, I will first and foremost appreciate the privilege given me by our dynamic governor, His Excellency Alhaji Yahya Dozabelo, the governor of the state, for the singular privilege to at least serve the people of Kogi State in this capacity. I want to sincerely thank God for that and to appreciate him the more. Let me quickly remind you that the ministry started with the responsibility of at least seeing that the environment is conducive for human habitation. Don't forget the fact that when God created humans, He created us in an environment. And when such environment is abused, you can imagine what is going to happen. And so we as a ministry has tried to focus on environmental conservation and preservation. We have tried to implement programs to safeguard our forests, wetlands, and wildlife. Again, we have equally prioritized what we call waste management and pollution control. This can be seen in a way we promote our recycling, in a way we promote our waste segregation, waste disposals across the state, and engage private sector participation. Again, as a ministry, we have been proactive in, at least in addressing climate change in form of renewable energy sources. We have equally creating awareness, campaigns educating our people on the need to at least of the importance of reducing greenhouse gaseous emission. And again, we have focused on environmental education, and to create awareness to our communities in form of workshops, seminars, and campaigns. And finally to arrest, at least to a larger extent, ecological defects such as erosion controls, building roads, and drainages.
Thank you so much. Now, part of the functions of the Ministry of Environment is cooperating with relevant MDAs, the private sector, NGOs, and international organizations on environmental matters. So, what has the Erosion and Watershed Management Project, NEMAP, that is now referred to as Agroclimate Resilience in Semi-Allied Landscape, what have they done so far in Kogi State that places it to be reckoned with in the state?
I think let me just break it down, because you see, when we talk about mitigating, the effect of climate change, in the states, we felt one of the ways is to ensure that we tackle headlong the problem of ecological problems in the state. And so that was what led us to the issue of coming up with a partnership with World Bank. And that time, it was a NEMAP. And so the states, went into this partnership with NEMAP to attack and to give a headlong mitigating effect on the challenges we are talking about as a result of climate change. And so we went into NEMAP, and to the glory of God, so many projects were at least being executed under NEMAP. Quite unfortunate that it winded up last year, and we had to quickly look into how we could at least go into another partnership with the same World Bank, and that was what led to the issue of ACRISA. It's for the semi-arid region, and so it's basically to tackle the effect of climate change in our state. And you see, when we talk about ACRISA is a little different from NEMAP. NEMAP has only one area. It covers just one area that has to do with environment. Now, in ACRISA, it is tripartite, because it involves agriculture, it involves water resources, and environment. So these are the three ministries that were affected, by this ACRISA. And so all hands, has been on deck to ensure that we have a successful takeoff. And as I speak with you, we are on, though we have not really, we have not really commenced the civil, most of our civil work, that has to do with construction of drainages, build roads, and just to tackle ecology. But we have we have started, and we are still on the low-hanging fruits. And by the time we start, honestly, it's going to be massive, and it will surpass that of even the achievement we recorded under NEMAP.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, the raining season is here. Talking about the 2023 raining season, and a part of the functions of this very ministry is to create awareness. We knew what has happened in Kogi State in the past years that we experienced flood. So what effort is the ministry putting in place to see that awareness is created, especially for those living in the riverine areas, so that they won't be victims again?
Yeah, thank you. Let me quickly take you down the memory lane. The issue of flooding in Kogi State is not new. I will say it is it has become an annual ritual that by the time you look at it, you discover that it started from 1926, where the flood was first experienced in Lokoja. And that time, it was as if the end of the world is coming. Now we had that of 2012, and again you discover that it's so massive that even the effect is still something the state is still battling with. Now that of 2022, the one that came last year. It's quite unfortunate, but unfortunately again, you know that Kogi State is, will I say, strategically located, that will always be on the red alert anytime NIMED comes up with their prediction. Again, the prediction has also come that this year, 2023, if the flooding is not going to be more than that of last year, certainly it will be up to. And what is the measurement? In 2012, it was measured 12.8. In 2022, the one that came last year, it was measured 13.5. And so we don't know the measurement that this year will come up with. But then we are quite sure that flood, like I said, is not new to us. You know, as a government, a proactive government, what we have done is to ensure that already we have a committee in place, yes, headed by His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of the state, is the head of that committee, and we have members. I'm one of them, and we have SEMA, we have Commissioner for Health, Water Resources, and what have you, just to ensure that we start to prepare, so that it's not until it comes that we will start to run at a scatter to see what. That is why we have ensured that we put measures, machineries in place, you know, to forestall or to bring to a minimum level the effect on our people. We have what is called early warning system. Early warning system is like is the machine that dictates, that tells us, that monitors weather patterns. You know, then it gives us the river level. It will tell us when the river is getting high. Then it also, you know, tells us about the flood risk. And we have these machines in Omala. There's a place they call Dagana in Omala. We have one in Ida, local government. And so by the time this gives us that signal, we will now know that yes, there's every need for us to quickly relocate the people along the coast to a higher ground. So that is the essence of this early warning system. It's an alert, and we have the system in the east where we normally experience this yearly. Then, you know, in tackling flood situation, we have it in stages. We have activities before, we activities during, and we have that of after. That is 3 stages. The activities during or before has to do with creating awareness, educating our people, sensitizing them on the need for them to know what to do per time. That is, the moment they start noticing, they should be ready to move or relocate to a higher ground. That is the essence of creating the awareness. It is a campaign, it is ongoing now by both the ministry, the staffs of the ministry, and that of SEMA, to ensure, and even NEMA, to ensure that at least our people are properly guided on what to do. Then again, we have what is called evaluation plans. That of last year, we have data. Already, we have data, and the data is what we are working on. Don't forget I told you that we have activities segmented. The activities before, during. The during activities has to do with meeting with the people at their various camps, because we have provided camps. And don't forget the fact that we even have what is called flood hostel. It's a permanent structure. Yeah. If you go there now, you will see it. It's being prepared now to accommodate as many victims as possible. Aside the fact that after the effect of 2012, the state came up with a building, plan to have what is called flood estate. The flood estate was given to victims of 2019. But unfortunately, as they were being given, some of them prefers to sell, some lease, to still come back to where they have been moved. So these are some of the challenges we are facing as state. But then we have equally mapped out that strategy to see that at least the evacuation is done as quickly as possible. Then we have embankment that is ongoing now. The embankment is to forestall the incessant overflow of water along the coastal. When you go to a place they call Bata Old Market towards Natako, we want to ensure that an embankment is built along that coastal so that it will at least it will retain water from overflowing. Then we have this collaboration with some of the non-governmental organizations, with stakeholders like there's an NGO called IOM, for example. Okay. They have been up and doing. They have been around. We have Doctors Without Border. They have been around since that 2022. That is last year, and up to now they are still around to assist in giving succor, to our people. Again, we have Hyperdeck. Hyperdeck is a commission, a federal government commission, who has at least in their own way too, partnering with us in the state, has been up and doing to ensure that at least the effect of, or try to mitigate the effect of flooding in the state. For example, there's an ongoing project now in Kotonkarofi, by this same commission. Don't forget, last year you discovered that along Muritala Bridge and Kotonkarofi main town, you discovered that there was a heavy flood along that road, and you now discover that so many vehicular, which affected vehicular movement. Yes. And so what we are trying to do this time around is to ensure that the water in that community is being channeled to the river, so that by the time that is done, then raising a little the level of that road, definitely it will forestall the experience we had last year. And so these are ways by which we as a state are preparing to battle headlong with this flooding that has become
Thank you so much, sir. Now, taking you back to this very response, the embankment you spoke of. Last year, we discovered that despite the effort of the state government at setting up that embankment at Pata down to Old Market and at that very axis, despite that, there was still an overflow last year. Is there any plan by the state government to see that probably the height is raised higher? That is one. Secondly, some persons are actually of the opinion that the dredging of River Niger and Benue will also help at seeing, probably bringing an end to this very menace of flooding in Kogi State.
Yes, I quite agree with you to a larger extent that dredging. One, don't forget after the aftermath of 2012 flooding, His Excellency the President came up with a committee, to see that they come up with what is called a lasting solution to this problem of flooding. And we, as a state, we have our submission And one of our major, major points put forward is to see that the both rivers, Niger and Benue, we get them dredged. If we're able to dredge River Niger and Benue, it will allow for more waters. It's just like when you have a pool and you have you remove the sediments, definitely it will get the water, the river, deepening. And so by the time you dredge, you are indirectly removing the sediments and deepening the water channel. You understand that? And so by the time again that you have the water dredged, it will definitely increase the capacity to carry more water. You understand? And even if you have the river dredged, it will reduce the likelihood of overflowing. You understand? Of water during rainfalls. And so when you dredge, you are giving room for more waters. So that is the first thing I expect the federal government to do. Don't forget the fact that the moment they release water from Cameroon, the first place of call is Nigeria. And so you have it, the moment it hits Chiroro, come to Kanji Dam, Jeba, you know that it's coming to the two rivers, Niger and Benue. And unfortunately, the same two rivers have their convergence in Lokoja, Kogi State. So you will now discover that unless, again, we have what is called macro dams. Macro dams are dams, though not big, the way you have other dams, but macro, just like the word macro, it's going to be smaller. But then, if we can have up to 2, 3 before these rivers get into Lokoja to serve as a retaining wall, because definitely it will check the velocity coming from probably, let's say, Kanji Dam down to River Niger and Benue here. And so by the time you have dredging, you have build of macro dams, honestly, what we are facing as a result of flooding will become a thing of the past. And so I agree with you totally. And again, you talked about embankment. Yes, embankment is not a total mitigation. Let me tell you one thing. Fine, it's not the height. What happened last year wasn't as a result of maybe the height of the embankment maybe not being, No. What happened was that if at all we want to get it right, there has to be the road from Pata down to probably where they call Natako being raised. Okay. So that the water, because again, you can't just have a permanent, you should have, an embankment they have to create a hole. And it is through the hole, you understand, under the embankment, that the water is. And so, because you have another channel coming from, we have a hill here that we call Multiparty. Yes. So all the water coming from that hill will definitely find its way straight down to the river. So if we have a total blockage, you understand, how will the river, the water coming from the top hill, overflows to the river? You understand? So these are just the challenges we are facing for now. But the only way is to raise the level of the road. whereby you have more waters going under. You get the illustration now. And so it's not as if the embankment has not, of course, it has really worked, but the issue is that we have to still go back to see how this analysis I've just given now could be properly, replanned.
Probably within a short period of time, now that the flood is here.
Yes.
All right, sir, as we wrap up the show, what is your advice to the general public, sir?
Yes, it will come in one, flood disaster. Like we just enumerated the effect now. My advice will be that as we are giving out this education, as we are creating this awareness, as we are telling the people to be conscious of the environment, and again to know when they are to move. You discover that so many people in most of our communities, especially in Ibaji, who will tell you that they can never move away from their ancestral home. They prefer to be there. Some will even, so funny, some will even go as far as climbing the tree to hang their mattresses. It's as bad as that. I mean, in a bid not to leave or move away from their ancestral home. So, my advice is for them to know that there's danger in that. Equally, in terms of our preparedness, like I said, we have prepared flood hostel. Their own is to just relocate there before even they start experiencing the main flood. That will at least solve. So again, water will always find its way. Our people are fond of dumping refuse indiscriminately where they are not supposed to. Some will even wait for rain. The moment rain is about falling, you will discover that the refuse kept by the corner of their homes will be brought to the same drainage, the same, we call it gutter, but the drain in Africa. So by the time they dump, forgetting that obviously it's leaving their own place to block another place. So we should be mindful of that. And now we are trying to see how some of these drainage can be desealed. We have started it from international market to deseal some of this drainage that has been blocked by necessary dumping of refuse. Then on the part of the waste management, yes, I want people to know that waste management is not something the government alone can't cater for. And so we have equally as a ministry going into what we call PPP, private partnership sector, so that we engage private hands to help us to see how we could evacuate some of our waste from our various homes to the permanent dump site. And so I'm just appealing that our people should please cooperate with them. We have procured them, and they are to start by next week. By the time they sign their MOU, by next week, by the special grace of God, their work will commence. Already we have enumerated the houses. We have known the number of households we have in Lokoja Metropolis. We are starting with the Metropolis. The PPP arrangement, or PSP, as whichever way, has to do with engaging private sector. Since we know that government alone cannot fund waste management, that's why we have gone into that arrangement to ensure that at least we engage private hands to, into our waste collection. We want, for now, we are starting with Lokoja Metropolis. We have carried out our enumeration. We have known the number of households. We have known the number of shops, private institutions, public institutions, and what have you. We have the data. And so we have divided Lokoja again into 10 lots. Each of these contractors will take each of the lots. And we have what is called waste baskets. Waste baskets will be given to every household. And twice, thrice in a week, the waste collectors will come around to pick your waste, but with what is called a meager service charge. And so we expect that the people should at least give us that support and cooperate with them so that we don't get ourselves into, because already we know so many people will still feel, but already we have what is called mobile court. Mobile court is in place to try every offenders. And so they should not wait until they have been taken to mobile court before they do what is expected. So by the time we have that, it would definitely check this idea of people bringing in their waste to dump at the roadside. You understand that? Yeah. And so that is, again, and that will try and will reduce the idea of dirty environment, having dirty environment. Definitely, by the time we start with that, we would then, not until we declare environmental sanitation, before every household knows what to do. It is for their own. And so finally, this ministry, by the special grace of God, is positive to leave a legacy. And what is that legacy? For future generation. We are open to feedbacks. We are open to suggestions. And finally, we are ready to collaborate with public and other stakeholders to ensure that at least we have a Kogi that every Kogite can be proud of.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner for Environment. Viewer, that is the much we can take on today's edition of The Opinion on Malachite MLC TV Online. Sir, when next we meet, we'll be discussing some other important issues in Kogi State, talking about houses built without toilet in Kogi State, especially in Lokoja. We'll also be looking at other issues regarding maybe those things that are expected of the people to do towards ensuring a cleaner environment, and of course the effort of the ministry at setting up some rules and regulations at seeing that we have a healthier environment in Kogi State. Thank you so much once again for your time, Honorable Commissioner.
Thank you very much.
Viewer, that is the much we can take on today's edition of The Opinion. We looked at environmental issues in Kogi State, and our host was the Kogi State Commissioner for Environment, talking about Chief Victor Adewale Omofaye. I believe you have learned one or two things listening to him. Next week, we'll be coming up with a different edition of this very program, The Opinion on Malachite TV. Please like and follow our Facebook page, MLC TV, and MLC TV2, YouTube, Malachite TV. If you want to be a part of this very show, you can send a text message to us or call us on any of the numbers displayed on your screen. It's Malachite TV, reaching everywhere, informing everyone. I remain your host, Joshua Atinoi. Thanks for joining us.